Welcome back to my training series. In this training series, I document and record a lot of my climbing and just talk about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking while on the wall. This first session starts off with a little bit of projecting at climbing new heights. I just came off of a deload week, and so definitely wasn't feeling entirely 100% while on the wall, but my skin was good, my fingers felt good, and so this was a bit of a longer session. I was in the gym for about 2.5 hours and just tried a lot of hard boulders. The session starts after I did a dynamic warm-up, and I did a couple easier boulders to warm up as well as warmed up my fingers, doing no hangs and some fingerboarding. This was the first harder boulder of the sesh. I've been really psyched to climb on the harder boulders up at Climbing New Heights right now. This boulder was no exception. It's the Defying Gravity simulator that I set a while ago. I've given this thing a couple burns like each session, and it has always just felt really, really hard. This first move is probably single move V8 or 9, and it's all about how precise you are with floating and engaging your body all at the same time. It's pretty cool and a lot less about finger strength than I was expecting. Following the trend of low percentage boulders, this V10, every move is super low percentage and droppable. The only difference between this and the Defying Gravity simulator is just how powerful this 10 is. Every move is on you, and it's fun. It's really, really fun. I've tried it a few sessions before this, just like attempts here and there, and figured out all the moves, but I hadn't really put like an actual work session in on this, so was psyched to actually give it some attempts. One of the big problems in my projecting is the more psyched that I become, the less precise I become. So every time that I have a close attempt like that and I fall, I take some time and really like redial the beta in my head and just visualize being more and more precise, and it tends to make the difference. At this point in the session, I had been climbing for maybe only an hour and a half at this point, and I was already running out of skin and starting to feel a little bit tired. So I went to try to repeat this teal. This was my first attempt on it for the day. I have done the boulder before, like I've talked about in other episodes, and so that attempt I didn't feel great, and I came back maybe 25 minutes later after the gym like completely filled up, and yeah, here we go. After this session, I got pretty sick, so I took a couple days off and then came back to project. A lot of my sessions these days are going to be projecting sessions. I'm looking at trying to get my peak power up, and so I'm taking longer rest periods in between each session and doing more intensive finger training, as well as shorter but high intensity sessions on hard boulders. One of the tricks to doing a lot of these sessions that I have learned in the last couple years is warming up everything, and anything that feels like unstable, warming up more. My shoulders on this warm-up felt pretty unstable, and so I spent a little bit of extra time with some bands and tried to warm them up even better, just so I didn't have any instability on the wall and no lack in confidence while trying harder moves.
Se habló demasiado del amor y no sabemos en realidad qué es, ¿no? Al corazón. El corazón ya hace bastante como para que encima lo hagamos responsable de nuestras desdichas sentimentales.
Before board sessions, I always try to do a couple one-arm hang sets. These sets are always done with a locked arm, kind of to replicate pulling down on a one arm. It just helps my fingers feel more ready to load all of my weight onto some of the smaller crimps on the board. I didn't end up filming the warm-up boulders that I did on the moon board today, but this boulder that we're starting out with, I'd never tried it before. It's always been on the list of a boulder that looked plausible but not very fun because that left hand pocket's pretty sharp. So today I tweaked my finger a little bit, like straight off the bat on that pocket, but the moves felt good, so I'm definitely going to come back to it. As this session progresses, my mental state started getting really bad. I started feeling really upset and really disappointed that I wasn't doing some of these harder boulders, even though I felt good. So I ended up taking about 15 minutes. I think this is just generally a good practice if you're feeling up in your head about it. I cooled down, took some time, and just kind of reframed to remember that climbing's fun, and then lowered intensity to kind of get my head back into the game. And then I swapped. I got off the moon board and went and projected in the gym instead of staying and just butting my head against something that I was not having fun on. This was a really big turnaround point for my mental psyche for the session. Getting a day flash on this boulder was like, I think, really important to ending the session well. After doing the red 10, the stand of this one, I decided to set like this disgusting little low project. It ended up being really cool. This was I tried all the moves like in ISO and was able to stick it, but it's basically a V8 or V9 boulder into the V10. The last session in this video, I got sick again after that projecting session. And so this was the first day that I started feeling okay. I just had been on and off sick like crazy. So this video is down in North Carolina. I went down and visited my mom over the weekend. This session started off with some campusing, and I felt kind of okay, but wasn't expecting much. Things I realized I do with my campus boarding is I don't pull through very well. I just kind of lock off on whatever one arm it is and then try to make the move from there. So I only noticed that after watching the footage on this one. So next time I campus boarding, I'm definitely going to try to pull through a little bit more with some more momentum, and it should help get my other opposing hand that's moving up to higher rungs easier. Session was just to have a fun session on the kilter board again. I haven't been on the kilter in a few months, and so it was just a lot of fun to get back on. Probably my favorite board to climb on. It's not by any means the best training board. I think the moon board or tension board are both far superior to the kilter for training, but the kilter is by far the most fun to climb on, I think, in terms of movement and style. It's just a blast, and so that was kind of reflected in this session. I do hop on some harder boulders here in a minute, but I kind of got shut down on everything. I've only ever tried this boulder at 50, so I was actually really surprised at how hard the upper move to the crimp was. At 50, that move feels very, very chill. At 40, though, that move felt so much larger. I ended up sticking in isolation, but I really made no more progress on this boulder. This is one of those boulders that you almost get first session, and it's like, this is awesome. And then you go session after session after session and not get it. This session is no different. I am probably 6 sessions deep into this boulder now and have made receding progress each time I'm on the boulder. So I swear I forget how to do any of the moves. It's kind of annoying. Surprisingly, even though this boulder is like super popular, I've never tried it before. So this was my flash go. I actually felt really close on my flash go, and then I ended up trying the last move in isolation a few times and ended up splitting on my left hand on that little crimp. So I just ended up calling it a session on the kilter. I will definitely be back for that boulder though. For both of them, I felt so close. At this point, I had like walked around the gym, found a couple cool looking boulders, and this was really the only one that like actually had me psyched. And so I saw this like really technical middle sequence with this match and going out left, and so I was super psyched to give this one a go. My first attempt, I definitely should have looked at my beta a little bit better because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But after rethinking, I came up with this cool like foot sequence. So I guess you'll see. I love how technical TRC sometimes sets. I've been down there a couple times, and this time was no different. Every boulder was highly technical and much less about power. I thought that was a cool change of pace. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them down in the comments. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.